Oh, what a lad. Well, today I am lucky enough to be joined by Japanese royalty. Over the last decade, today's guest has been one of the most influential and valuable players in the Japan top league. He's also been to the Olympic Games, where he played a massive role for the Japan 7 side, who came fourth in the 2016 Olympics. He's also been to 2 Rugby World Cups, where his skill set and tackle breaking ability has been on show on the big stage. And on top of all that, he's a massive, massive lad. Some have even gone on to say the greatest lad ever. So I am stoked to have him on. It is the great man, Lomano Lemeki. Welcome, brother.
Thanks for that. I'm a big fan of the show, so I've always wondered if I ever did come on the show, what the intro would be like. If it lived up to it.
Well, I always feel so much pressure on the intro these days. It's like everyone sort of anticipates a big intro, so I don't want to ever let anyone down, and hopefully that one didn't there, because, man, you've had a career. Like, obviously went over to Japan early, and I guess the way it's all played out for you has been, you'd look back on it with, I know you're still going, but you must look at your career with good memories.
Yeah, I never, in my wildest dreams, would think I'd ever be here for this long, let alone, I back at Honda now, so sign another 3 years. So by the end of that 3 years, that'll be 19 seasons done here in Japan. So
19 seasons, far out. That is a shift.
Turned up in 2009, but it was like, wasn't playing any like Super Rugby, wasn't playing any, like the only rep team I made prior to coming to Japan in Brisbane was just the QAS. It's like a Queensland under-19 development thing. And then a year after that, just got picked up at a playing club rugby from Canon Eagles, where, because back then you could only play 2 foreigners at a time in the old top league, and they were looking for, I guess, for a young outside back that could potentially get his Japanese passport and become a local player. And that was the pathway that I ended up just coming over on a 1-year deal. I was like, oh, nothing much is going for me. At the time, I was working with one of my mates and his brother. He had a tiling business, and we were just like labourers, fucking tiles up and down the stairs. And I was like, fuck, I want to play rugby. I want to do this. This is harder than training. You know? I mean, once the opportunity came up, I was like, gone. Didn't look back. Just took it.
And 19 seasons later, a Japanese wife, 4 kids, and a very successful rugby career over there.
Yeah, like I said, if you told me at the beginning, that 1 year would turn into 19, I never would have ever dreamt. I was sort of just wanted to play rugby, didn't really care about anything. Never been to Japan, or only been to Australia and New Zealand. I didn't know what to expect, and I was like, nah, just go with it.
Yeah, it's also a good time to get you on as well, because you've just recently launched the app, one of the greatest apps probably ever invented. I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes. But I remember talking to Will Tupou about it, maybe it must have been about 4 years ago, about the idea, and then obviously a lot of hard work's gone in behind the scenes, but to have it finally live now must be a good feeling.
Yeah, man. It sort of came up about 3 or 4 years ago. We sort of decided, like, what if we could come up with an app, not only to help players but coaches and stuff, to everyone gets a fair go, and that way no one gets lied to or ripped off. And that's how the app sort of came about. And the name P2P was just power to the players. It was more not trying to set up a business, but it was more trying to help young rugby players or players. So at the end of when they do finish rugby, they've got something to look back on, and they're set up financially for life. Because as you know, a lot of island boys, especially, or young boys, once they grow up with nothing, and then once they make it on the big time, they think they're set for life. They're throwing money around here and there, and it's more just trying to educate them that although you'll be on good money, it's only, if you're lucky, 10 to 12 years is a long career for a footy player, and it's more trying to just set them up and help them along the way. So make sure that there's no sad stories like you hear some league players, got the same thing happen to them. So it's more just trying to help players back.
Yeah, it's so cool. And how do you see it working? Like, obviously, it's an app. If you're a player listening, what does it look like? How do you actually get involved?
You just sign up to the app and everything's all confidential. So once you make your account, you set up your profile, you can upload your videos and stats and whatever. And then the teams that sign on, so say for instance Honda or another top league team, after a player that's, say you're a number 8 or whatever, they load up your stuff and they can look at your account and they can just message you directly. So there's no going through a third party or an agent or middleman. You sort of just talk directly to each other. You can sort out your own contracts and you just go from there. So if there's any interest, you'll see notifications, or this team has checked out your profile. It just goes from there.
That's cool. And if is it the same for coaching?
Yep. Coaches, high performance, agents, everything. So you could still have an agent and be on the app.
Yeah.
The setup of the app was there's no percentage. So say you jump on, you sign up, you just sign up just for that one time.
Yeah.
And then you don't pay a percentage of how many ever years you've got. You just one-off time, and then you can do whatever you want with your money.
And for a team point of view, so let's say Crusaders are looking for 10 as an example. You go on the app.
Yeah.
I guess you click in 10s available, and then there's a list of guys who you can sort of scroll through, look at their clips, have a conversation if need be. Is that how it works?
Yeah, and that's how it works. So you put in what kind of 10, and it all shows up all the 10s that are on the market and all their profile and who's who, and then you can sort of just compare yourself on the database and stuff. Of obviously it'll be like live stats and all your highlights and clips and whatever they're after, and then they can contact them from there on. So it just makes it easier for them.
Yeah, man, that's so cool. You're obviously on there. That's probably how you got your latest big gig at Honda. Is that your highlights package?
there was no highlights package. There was nothing. It was sort of just got in contact with Honda, and then we sort of just put it on there. We're like, we would why not, if it's going to be our app? Why not be the first one to try and use it and get on there? And so lucky enough, Honda are buying into it, and there's a few other teams that are interested in, and they think it's probably the way forward. Because normally, when you sign for a team, like you'll know the agent, the company will pay a fee to the agent, and then they'll also pay your salary on top of that. So for the companies, depending on what players on the market and depending what players are there, like they're paying out hundreds and thousands of dollars in agent fees and stuff. So for them, I suppose it would be a lot easier for them, so they could use those funds in upgrading young players' contracts, or they can use that somewhere else and just trying to help them use their money in ways that they can give back and help to the players.
Yeah. So at the moment, the biggest challenge for you is getting teams on board or players on board, or where you at? Obviously, you're only a week into it.
Yeah, we've got quite a few teams on there now, and a lot of the groundwork, because me and Will are always busy with our own footy careers. We're still playing.
Yeah.
Our other partner is the one that goes around and does all of that, and so there's quite a lot of teams that's jumped on now. And I think a few of the older, traditional, bigger teams, because they've never really had that problem with recruiting players. You know, their team is their brand, and like all your Sun toys and stuff like that. Everyone wants to go there. So for big teams like that, it was hard to try and talk to them, because they've already got that status. They've got that big backing behind them, and so they'll sort of just said, we'll see if the other clubs jump on, then we'll see how they go, and then that'll decide whether they jump on or not. So not everyone's buying into it yet, but I think it's going to be a long, slow progress before everyone gets on.
Like anything new, like it always takes a little bit of time before people sort of trust it, or a few more people get involved, and then once word spreads and everyone's in it, I can see it being a game changer, 100%.
Yeah, so just, like you said, like anything, once there's a bit of backing behind it and people start to trust in it, and then hopefully, takes off, and then we can jump back on the podcast 2 years later and see how well we go, or how well we haven't gone.
Well, I'm sure it will be the first option. I think it's going to go really well. I can see it working really well with, I guess, injury replacements. I feel like that comes up a lot, especially as a coach in a super season or whatever season it is. When you're getting bombarded with injuries, you're always needing to call up someone, and obviously that depth isn't always around where you are. So being able to jump on an app and just quickly scroll through to see if anyone available is out there, and then if not, then look to get whatever's the best option. But that's how I see it working. I think it'd be really cool for both coaches and players to get the best available.
Especially with all the leagues, and there's so many countries now that are making their own rugby, their own leagues and stuff, and so especially for young guys that want to aspire to be rugby players, and I was the same, didn't have the CV, didn't have those rep honours or anything, and still just got picked out of that. So I suppose if that could happen, and there was sort of no social media, no apps like that back then, imagine what you could do now. Like anything goes viral, so there's a lot of young players, especially for next generation. I think it would really help them.
If they can have a 19-year career like you did, geez, that's a success story from the app. That's the first example. But you did mention your journey a little bit at the start, but I'm keen to hear it from the start. And I know you were born in New Zealand. Was it in Auckland?
Yeah, I was born in West Auckland at Henderson.
Oh yeah. And what was your upbringing like? Because obviously, who's Tongan in your family?
Both my parents are Tongan. Yeah.
True.
So they migrated from Tonga, so a traditional Tongan upbringing.
Yeah.
5 siblings, number 4 out of 5. And
oh yeah.
As a lot of young Islander families do as well, grew up with humble beginnings. We didn't have much. Grew up in the housing commission, and like a small 3-bedroom home, and there was 8 of us. And then as we started getting older, my mum would help her family come over from the islands, and so even at one stage, I think it was almost 20 of us living in that little 3-bedroom place. So it was definitely humble beginnings, but I always loved it. We always got along. We were always happy, and because there were so many of us, we always playing footy outside or playing cricket or always hanging out together. So it was some of the fondest memories growing up was always a crowded house.
Yeah, was it always rugby for you? Was rugby always the passion?
Yeah, it was always rugby. Always rugby, always just carry a rugby ball around everywhere I went. Even when I used to go to school, you look through my school bag and it'll be probably 1 book and a pen, and it'll be 2 rugby balls in there. From an early age, it always just take rugby balls everywhere.
Yeah. Were you always good at rugby? From a young age, were you always sort of talented at the game?
Yeah, always be good at just running. Always just running for the ball.
Oh yeah.
You probably looking back now, there wasn't much footage when I was young, but you'd probably be one of those guys that just walk and wait, and then you get the ball and you just start running, kind of no work rate, just waiting for the ball to score a try when you get close to the try line. Probably more one of those.
When did that sort of change for you? Because obviously, from all accounts, you're an incredibly tough worker. Yeah, your work ethic's massive. When did that sort of change for you as a kid? Was it even when you were a kid?
No, I think it wasn't probably my 5th form year of school where I sort of decided, no, I only just want to play rugby. I don't want, probably not really going to be really good at anything else, just rugby. So in order to probably get to where I need to go, I need to. I always used to be sort of fit and fast and strongest, but then it wasn't until my 5th form year where I sort of just decided, if I want to do what I want. If I want to do this as a living, I'm going to have to start working, going to start going runs more and start doing little things like that. And I think it's where it sort of just started coming from.
Yeah, and what school did you go to?
I went to Liston College.
Oh, yeah.
Which is all Catholic boys' school out west.
Yeah.
We weren't very, very good. We were in the Auckland, the 1B division. Now they're in the 1A, but when I was there, we were still in the 1B.
Yeah.
The only good rugby school out west was Kelston Boys.
Was it ever an option for you to look to move schools or chase the sort of rugby dream from another school?
No, because Kelston was just a public school, whereas Liston is because my parents were real big on being Catholic.
Oh yeah.
So there was no way they were taking us out of that school.
Yeah.
To go just to play rugby, So they didn't really see it that way.
Yeah, and did you feel like that held you back at all? Because you didn't make New Zealand schools or anything like that, did you?
No, we went a strong rugby school, but I was playing first 15 when I was under 14s or when I was 14.
Oh,
so I was if I'm playing in the top team at 14 and I'm making the rep teams, I'm yeah, like surely, that this is going to be easy run from here on in, and then come next year, nah, didn't make any team again until that Queensland under-19 team.
Far out. That would have been a bit of a shock, eh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, post school, like you sort of made this plan to become a professional rugby player. You'd put all your eggs into that basket. You hadn't picked up a contract. Where are you at this stage?
So my seventh form year of school, I left Auckland, I left New Zealand, and I went over to Brisbane.
Oh, seventh form, you're still at school. Oh, okay.
Yeah. For my last year of high school, I ended up going to Brisbane. That's when I didn't end up making the Queensland schoolboys either. So they normally pick two teams, an A and a B, and I missed out on both as well. And I was like gutted, eh? I was like, I'm pretty much almost there. I'm finishing school this year. Like if I don't pick up something here, I don't know how I'm going to be able to fulfill this dream that I had going. So it was like, fuck, what do you do from here?
Yeah. And what did you do? What was your option?
The only other option was playing club footy. So club rugby in Brisbane is pretty big. So I ended up playing for Sunnybank, one of the clubs there, and so they play Colts. Colts in Brisbane or in Australia in general was under-19s, not under-21s. So I ended up playing Colts for my first year out of high school, and then they normally have a rep team for the Queensland Academy team, Academy of Sport, and I ended up making that team.
Far out.
And then the next year after that, that's how I ended up coming to Japan. So didn't really sort of give up on the dream, but it was like, I haven't really made any of the rep teams, and if you're being realistic, if you're not making any of those teams, how are you going to be a professional rugby player? There's only 4 or 5 Super Rugby teams in Australia, so if you're not in any of those rep teams by the age of 18 or 19, then it's not looking very good.
Yeah, so it was an easy decision for you to go to Japan then.
Yeah, I wasn't in any of the squads or anything, so
Yeah.
for that opportunity to come up was a big eye opener, because I don't know how that even came up about. Like they were just watching one of the under-19 games that I was playing. They just happened to score about 5 tries in that game, and then
5 tries, jeez.
yeah, like I told you, it wasn't so much work rate. It was a bit of being greedy that had to do with that as well. So, and so yeah, and that's how that came about.
And was that a paid contract?
Yeah. So I was
Far out.
making bare minimum as a labour, and like our friend used to just pay us under the table. You just pay us cash.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like there was no paperwork, there was no paper trails, and there was nothing like that. So on paper, I was like jobless. I didn't have any money. And then at 19, turning 20, Canon offered me I think it was 110 grand after tax.
Far out.
Yeah, from nothing to that, and I'm like, holy happy days.
And you weren't Japan qualified at this point, were you?
Nah.
Nah.
So
Jeez.
I don't know
That is good
how
stuff.
that came about. Yeah.
Well, they saw something in you. Well, the 5 tries probably.
I was still living at home too, so I didn't know how to cook. I could do washing and cleaning, but I couldn't cook because I was always staying at home and my sisters would always do that for me. And then I ended up coming to Japan, foreign country, and I've got a 3-bedroom apartment, and I'm like, what do I do here? Like, I don't know how to cook, don't know how to do anything. I don't even know how to pay my bills because I've never had to pay any bills.
Well, it's not an easy place to pay bills either.
Nah. You would know you got to take everything to the konbini and pay. I'm like, I didn't know what was going on.
Man, that's crazy. You would have had to grow up real quick.
Yeah, everything was still new to me, like my 3-bedroom apartment, and I just pretty much lived in the 1 bedroom, and everything just had like nothing in there. I used to just live in my 1 bedroom, put all the TV and everything, so it looked like an empty house just with 1 bedroom.
Yeah. Far out. Was it lonely? Could you speak Japanese at all? Nah.
Nah, it was lonely like the first month,
Yeah.
just because I didn't know anyone, and I didn't know to speak the language or what to do. But at the same time, I was like this is what I've always dreamt of. This is what I've always wanted. So there's no point in being homesick and going home now, because this chance, it's once in a lifetime. And if I'm being honest, like I should have never really been there in the first place. And then to get the opportunity, I'm like, just had to get over it. And like I said, I just had to grow up real fast. Like I had to
Yeah.
go, like little things like going shopping and stuff and buying what and what aisles. I don't know. So I used to just ring home all the time and ask them how you would do the washing, how you do this, how you do that.
That's so good. You obviously meet your wife. When do you meet your wife?
My second year
Oh,
at
your
Canon.
second year.
So 2010. I met my wife I've done a season already, and I played well in my first season because I only came over on a 1 year deal.
That was at the top league.
Back then, Canon were in the second division,
Oh, second
so
div.
they were
Oh, yeah.
in the top east. Yeah,
Yeah.
they just started the program,
Yeah.
and they started putting the funding into it, and so that was how that started. And so came over on a 1 year deal, ended up doing well, and they offered me another contract for the next year. So I'm like, sweet, go home. And this is the first time being professional, so I thought I've made it.
Yeah.
I go back home, um, a month and a bit off, hanging out with my friends. Didn't even worry about training, didn't worry about anything. Come back, I was like 90. I think I was like 92 when I left. I came back and I was about 102. And I'm like, what the fuck's gone on here, you know? Here I am thinking in my mind, oh, it'll be easy. I've made it now. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Come back and that was probably the worst 2 months preseason I ever had in my life. And from then on, I'm like, I'm never turning up unfit ever again.
I feel like everyone goes through that learning curve at some point.
Yeah, but like you would know in Japan, like the sort of trainers are always about doing running and training. They're always loving it. And
Yeah.
the testing we used to do back then was 3Ks.
Oh, yeah.
That was so painful. Like everyone would be finishing. I was like normally I was like at the back for the props, and I was like, this is so embarrassing. I never want to feel like that ever again.
Oh, that's good stuff. And then that year you meet your wife, and then it changes everything.
Yeah, I met my wife. Changed everything. So, one of my senpais at the time he was a prop, and he used to just look after me. Like even my first year, if I was just doing nothing, he would just come around home. It's like you want to go eat, and I couldn't speak Japanese. He couldn't really speak English, so we sort of just sign language and broken English to each other. He's like, you want to go eat? Okay. So his girlfriend at the time, the friends of my wife, and he was like, you got a girlfriend? I was like, no girlfriend, just here by myself. And he's like, oh, my wife's got a friend, and she's quite pretty. Would you like to go for dinner next time? I'm like, well, it sounds good. Why not? And then he was like, nah, they want to do like a old traditional nabe party, like a Japanese style party, like a hot pot party. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, can we do it at your house? And he was like, yeah, sweet. So then he's went and picked up his girlfriend, picked up my girlfriend, my wife, which was their friend at the time, and I've come over house, and then we sort of just had like a party, and everyone's sort of communicating with Google Translate and broken English and broken Japanese, but ended up getting there. So ended up getting her number and stuff, and so her mail address, and so when we would send each other like messages, it's like couldn't even make out what it meant. Like it wouldn't even make sense. She would write it in Japanese, put it in Google Translate, and then I'll get it, and then I'll try to translate it the other way, and it was like it would never make sense, but somehow we used to did that for about a month or two, and
It was love.
I wouldn't say it was love at first sight. It was like Google Translate at first sight, probably.
Well, that's so good, and now you're still happily married with 4 kids. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
now we've got 4 kids. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
When did you have your kids? What ages? How old are they now?
So my eldest boy, he's 12 now.
Oh, yeah.
So he's 12, and then my second boy, we got like 3 years apart. So my wife was like, I know you want heaps of kids, but we're not just going to bang them out one after the other. So it's like, I need some space to breathe in between. So they're all 3 years apart. My oldest boy, 12. My second boy is 9, and my third boy is 6. But then, so she only wanted 3 kids. I'm like, no, like we've got 3 boys. I want a girl.
Yeah.
She was like, well, if you want a girl, like we're not waiting another 3 years. It's like, last chance kind of thing. If it's a boy, then oh well, tough luck. So, but my youngest two, they're in like a year and a half apart, and luckily she was a girl. I'm like, I can thank God.
Oh, you cracked it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what am I doing? Four boys.
Oh, what am I going to do with four boys? Oh, are you done now? Is you done at four?
Yeah,
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 definitely.
done.
Yeah.
I just wanted a girl. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then at some point you end up playing sevens for the Japan team. How does that one come about?
So when I moved over, I went to Canon for 2 years, and then I left Canon. I went to Mazda in Hiroshima
Oh,
for
yeah.
about two. I wouldn't say two, about year and a half, which is roughly 2 seasons. And so, as you'd know, Mazda's a good place to live because it's in Hiroshima. It's nice and stuff. That like for if you're aspiring to make it or be like an international player, it's probably not the place to go. It's sort
Yeah.
of more when you wind down.
Yeah.
So I got to a crossroads where so I was at Mazda, and I'm like, I'm grateful for the opportunity, and I love this place here, but like, I want to play international rugby. I want to play sevens, and so ended up leaving Mazda, but without a contract. So I didn't have anything lined up when I left.
Oh, really? Oh, brave.
Yeah, I just left on wanting to. I just wanted to go to somewhere else where I could get more exposure and play like a high level of rugby. And so when I left, moved back to my in-laws' house in Tokyo with my wife, and we stayed there for probably about 3 to 4 months, not knowing like if I was going to get signed up somewhere else. And so I used to just go to the gym like every day. There was a local gym out there. I'll just go to the gym and do my own sort of running programs. And I'm like, oh, fuck, surely this is not the end of my rugby career. And I had 4 years.
What, 24 at this stage?
Yeah, so my son was, I think 2023, turning 24
Yeah.
the next year. And my son was already born and he wasn't even one. And
Oh,
so we didn't know
stressful.
like what we were going to do. Like, yeah, it was so stressful. But the only thing that sort of kept me going was like just going to train. That's the only thing I sort of knew how
Yeah.
to do was go to the gym and go running. So one of my mates, Jamie Henry,
Oh,
who had
yeah.
finished uni, he was playing at a sevens team. So they were only like a specialist sevens team. They only played in sevens
Yeah.
competitions, and so he sort of chatted to him, and he was like there's if there's nothing else, like, I know that there's like a little sevens tournament that is they call it the YCAC sevens. So like a lot of the top league teams and a lot of the uni teams always participate in that tournament. And he's like, oh, if you're keen, you can come have a run. I'm like, oh, I haven't really played sevens, but like, surely it can't be that hard, surely.
You're not 108
So
kgs anymore.
turned up. Oh, yeah. Turned up to play sevens. Like because I was just training by myself and doing my own training. I was about like 90 kgs or
Mm.
91. So like really light. So I was like, give this a good crack. And I ended up playing that tournament. And at that tournament, there was one of the selectors were there, who's friends with the national team coach at the time, and he sort of got in contact with him. Was like, oh, there's a guy here that played at the tournament. I reckon you should invite him to your next camp that was happening in 2 weeks' time.
Mm.
And so they got in touch, and I was like, oh, we've got a sevens camp going on. If you'd like to come by and just join in and see how well you go. And so I was like, okay. We went to that training camp. I never did so much running in my life. I'm like, I thought turning up overweight and running 3Ks was tough. They didn't touch the ball for like the first week.
True.
It was just like running and running and gymming and running. I'm like, I didn't know if this was a good idea to turn up to this camp. In my mind, I was thinking, didn't know the training was going to be that hard. Like, it looked fun, 7 minutes, throw the ball around, run around,
Yeah.
score a few tries.
Yeah.
Uh,
Tough.
and then, yeah, after that camp, I was surprised. I was only supposed to be there for like a few days, and then the coach was like, "No, you just stay for the week." And then, yeah, you come next week as well. And then ended up making my debut in the tournament a few weeks later.
That's a story. Where was that tournament?
Malaysia.
Oh, yeah.
So like they used to do like the Asia sevens first.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So there were about 5 legs of that, and then depending on how well you did on that, because Japan wasn't qualified for the World Series, like would always be like an invitational team.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, ended up playing in that. And then the next year we ended up winning that challenge trophy, and we got promoted to the World Series, which is that was a lot of fun. Still 24, 25, and you're traveling the world.
Yeah.
First time ever been to Vegas. First time I've ever been to England. As a young footy player, I'm like, bro, this is the life,
That's it, eh? Cool way to travel, playing sevens and,
Oh,
yeah, like you say, traveling to some of the coolest cities in the world. It's definitely a good way to do it. Was the Olympics ever a goal for you, or was that ever something you were looking to make?
no, not at first.
No.
But when I got selected into the national team, I'm like, this could be an opportunity here. And then it wasn't until 2014 when we made core status, and we made a few of those the quarterfinals, and the actual proper World Series, and we're like,
Yeah.
this could like we could actually be like on here, this could actually be something that we could actually do. And then the following year we had to win the Asia series to qualify for the Olympics. So we had to play Hong Kong in Hong Kong, and Hong Kong always tough to beat, man. Like you think, oh, it's just a small Asian country, but there's mostly expats there. So
Yeah.
most of the team are like, well, they're born there, but they're all like English boys, and they're actually quite handy.
Yeah.
So yeah, so when we actually did beat them, then it was like, that actually became a reality. It's like we could actually be Olympians here. No one in my family's ever played in the World Cup, let alone in the Olympics. So I'm like, fuck, that was just the focus from then on, was just trying to make the Olympics.
Yeah.
So that was 2015, and 2015 after the World Cup, when Edingham left, they named a national team under the 15s, and a few of us got named in it. So I'm like, everything's like that I dreamt of is all coming to what's all aligning now. Was I'm like,
Yeah.
but then at the time the sevens coach was like, mate, like you can't do both. So if you got to decide, do you want to play 15s or do you want to play sevens? Because telling you now, like 15s, you're still 24, 25, you're still probably be able to try and play in a World Cup. Whereas Olympics, it's like a young man's sport. Like you at 28, 29, I don't know, if you'll still be able to get around the park as a
Yeah.
sevens player. So after we had that chat, and I decided, yeah, fuck it, I'll just try and go for the Olympics instead. And if it all works out, then I can try and go for the World Cup. As you know, like
Yeah.
Olympics is always good, but any aspiring rugby player, everyone's dream is to play in a World Cup. So I'm like, just lucky that it all worked out.
Mate, it all worked out all right. And that was the first time the sevens had ever been at the Olympics too, right?
Yeah, that was the first time.
And what was that like? What was it like being at the Olympics? Obviously, it's on at the moment, or just finishing up at the moment. What was it? What was it like being involved in the whole occasion?
It was pretty cool. Like I would have liked to join the opening ceremony, but our our team, well, our rugby team, we didn't join the opening ceremony because the tournament started early the next morning.
Oh
So
yeah,
our coach decided, yeah, it'll probably be best for us to miss the opening ceremony and just stay. So I reckon if I could rewind it back, I would have loved to do that lap, with your suit and see all other athletes. So that would have been cool.
yeah,
But also not complaining because we didn't join the opening ceremony. We just sort of just stayed focused on what we were going to do. We ended up beating the All Black Sevens the first game up on the first day. So
yeah.
sort of weighed out in the end. But like walking around the athletes village, it was like, don't really know like too many sports, but then like we were lucky we were there. We seen Usain Bolt, we seen Asafa Powell, Johan Blake, and this is at the time where Jamaica was still like on top of the world for sprinting.
Yeah,
And I was like,
that's
got
cool.
even got photos and stuff with them, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. And you mentioned like how much of a struggle it's sort of been for Japan over the sort of prior years leading up to the Olympics, like always on the fringe of the World Series. But
Yeah.
then at the Olympics, you mentioned beating the All Black Sevens first game, getting all the way to the medal matches,
Yeah.
winning the quarterfinal. Must have been some
Yeah.
sort of ride.
I think we knew that we were good because leading up into those other tournaments, we were consistently like making the quarterfinals, in the World Series. So
Yeah.
we were like, we deserve our spot here. Like, we're on here, but we didn't actually believe that we were going to go all the way, to the semi-finals, the middle matches, until we played the All Blacks. But our preparation for that year and a half was all just about New Zealand. Like that's all we focused on, because our coach was like, if we can win this game, that sets the tune for the whole tournament. That no one's expecting us to win. So like we've got nothing to lose, and so we used to practice scenarios. So if I don't know if you watch the game, if you watch it back, like we were playing like 15s and 7s. Any penalties we'd get, we'll kick for touch and we'll try and maul and and slow down. Yeah, like we'll do like stuff you wouldn't do in 7s.
Yeah.
But our coach was just like, New Zealand, they always play at this tempo. They always play a fast game and moving the ball. So the only thing I reckon that would help us is if we can slow the game down as slow as possible and just disrupt the tempo. And then obviously if we have opportunities, then we take those opportunities. That's the only way I see us like with a chance of winning the game. And we ended up winning 14-12.
Oh, were you kicker? Surely.
Yeah, I kicked one from the sideline.
Oh,
So
huge play.
So me and our other playmaker, so he's got he's got a real accurate boot, but he doesn't have a lot of power in the boot. So anything that's inside the 15s, he'll take. Anything further out, I would take. And so but the thing is, like, we scored the first try right on the touchline, kicked it straight through. But then every time when we scored the winning try, I was right next to the post. So anytime they showed the highlights, they only show his kick that was next to the post. I'm like, mate, mine was in the sideline, like 40 metres out. No, you're not showing my kick.
Well, everyone saw your drop kick in the World Cup. Obviously, that was from about 40 odd back, or maybe even 50. That was some kick.
Oh, that was a lot of practice. So
from your 7s days.
Yeah, also the day before training at the captain's run.
Oh, really?
So Tony Brownie was telling me, mate, I reckon you've got a drop kick in you. And then so I'm like, yeah, okay, thanks, Brownie. Sort of looking around. Then you got all the media on the side, and I'm fucking kicking the ball from like 40, 50 out, shanked them all over the place. And I'm like, Brownie, I love the confidence, but I don't feel like I'm be hitting one from out here anytime soon. Gets in the game, and I've sort of just been. Well, we practice with Matsura, so if there was ever like a chance for a drop kick, I don't think no one really knows that I can drop kick like from the other team that far. So we set him on the right behind the ruck, and I went and stood on the left. So all the pressure went to him, and it just came back to me, and I'm just like, yeah, fuck, just kick it. Just as soon as I hit it, and I'm looking up, I'm like, well, this is actually going over.
Brownie was right.
But I didn't want to celebrate too hard, because then everyone's like, oh, that's probably a fluke. So I've sort of just sort of started jogging back and just calm and clapping everyone's hands. I'm like inside, I'm like, holy shit, Brownie was right. I don't actually think I'll knock one from this far, let alone in a test match. But cheers for that, Brownie.
And you mentioned Brownie, and obviously you were under Jamie Joesph. So from the 7s, you move into the 15s game, and was it Jamie Joe and Tony Brown at this point?
Yeah. So they already took over.
What was that like? Was that an easy decision for you to go to 15s and work with those guys?
Yep. Just because after the Olympic, I felt like I've ticked this box, and now my next goal is to be in the World Cup. So as soon as I finished 15s, 7, sorry, then I ended up making that end of year squad. So, the top league would have finished, I think, I don't know, normally back then, remember we used to have the international month break.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And then, so you would get I think the whole of November off, and then you'd come back and finish the last half of your season. Because I remember we played you guys before we had a break, and you guys absolutely smashed us. I'm like, so we were like 0-8 for the first half of the season. I'm like, holy, I was like, surely I will not be making the squad, and ended up making the squad. So 2016 would probably had to be like a bittersweet year for me. So we made the Olympics, got to the top four, missed out on the medal. So like we're there, but we went there, and then I come back, and then I'm straight into the 15 side, made my debut against Argentina, went to Georgia, scored 2 or 3 tries in my first 2 games. And I'm like, fuck yeah, this is what it's about. I'm glad I'm here. And then so as we go to Georgia, we're winning the game. Last minute or so, I'll sort of just run back. The winger's made a break. I've run back. I've just stopped, and I've just felt something pop. ACL gone.
Really?
Yeah,
Just
just
running
no one was
straight.
near me.
Far
No
out.
one touched me. Just running straight. I've stopped. Popped my ACL's gone. Then then as you go from like the highs of highs to now being on the lowest of lows, I'm like, you sort of feel sorry for yourself. You're a bit depressed. I'm like, man, I worked so hard to get here, and then like, why now?
Yeah.
Why now? Have it right there, and then it feels like you're just taking it away. So that next sort of three to 6 months, because I ended up coming back and playing in like 5 months and a bit after my operation.
From an ACL. Far out. How'd you do that?
I Because I got injured playing for the national team. Um, they they were able to accommodate me to go and stay at the National Training Center in Tokyo and do all my rehab there. So yeah, all my rehab for like 2 months was all done there. So every day was like physio, proper training and stuff of like the best trainers and the best doctors possible to the athletes of Japan. So I
Oh,
stayed there
that's
for
cool.
2 months
Yeah.
in that dorm, and then yeah, and then I ended up coming back to play like 5 months and a half after my ACL. So, but it was just tough times, like when you're coming back from one of those big injuries,
Yeah.
it's always going to be like a slow process. So it doesn't matter how fast you want to come back and play. It's like you got to tick everything off and make sure everything is 100% good before you can try. So I try to come back too early. I try to like rush my running and stuff,
Yeah.
and so I ended up having to get it cleaned out again. So I reckon if I just stuck to the process, they told me they could get me back in 5 months, and here I'm thinking I'm a doctor. I reckon 4 months will be fine. So
Even 5 months sounds quick.
trying to rush back, and like because I was staying at the institute like on the weekends, that was your free time and you had time off. And so when our trainers went around, I would secretly try to go to the gym and try and run and stuff. I don't know not why. I just in my mind
Yeah.
feeling how good that felt playing for the national team. I wanted to get back as fast as possible, but not actually realizing that things like this is you're gonna have to take it nice and slow to get it back so that it won't happen again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so from there on in, I'm like, no, next time I get a big injury like that, I'm gonna have to listen to the professionals and just take it slow. Just take it slow. I don't have a degree. I'm not a doctor.
It's funny, when you get injured, you always think you know better than the physio or the
Yeah,
doctor. Yeah. Always
yeah.
try and shave time
It's
off it.
always like, no, I know my body. I know my body. Yeah.
Yeah.
When in fact you don't.
And then was it when you came back here, the Sunwolves had formed and you joined them? Was it around that time?
Yeah. So, but before I got injured, I already signed for the
Oh,
Sunwolves.
true.
Um, Straight after the sevens, yeah, I signed 2 years with the Sunwolves, and then that just sort of got taken away because I was injured. I couldn't play, so I hadn't played Super Rugby, and that was my chance of debuting as well. So like that was one of the other factors that I was trying to come back so fast was because Super Rugby only went for like a 4 or 5 months before it went back into international, and I'm like, man, I always want to play Super Rugby. It's probably not going to happen this year, so I had to wait till next season to make my Super Rugby debut.
How'd you find it? How'd you find the Sunwolves?
No, I enjoyed it, like the setup and the stuff, but like it was just a different level. Like I played in the international, which was good, but I felt like Super Rugby was like way better. It was like a lot faster. It was a lot more frank, but it was like good rugby as well.
Yeah.
And it was sort of felt like anytime you'd make a mistake, whatever, it was most certainly going to be a try. So, playing, and then you watch guys on TV, and then next minute you're playing against them. I remember we played the Waratahs at Chichibunomiya, and Tangele Nairawa was playing on the wing.
Yeah.
And this is when he was like at his peak, bro. He was a freak. He would score like 5 tries, and he was just making us look silly. He was just running all over us and stuff. I've like tried to come and get him low, and he's just hurdled over me. He's pushed me off. I'm just thinking, I was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I want to play Super Rugby anymore. I was like, I thought it was fun, but and then you go over to Africa, then you're playing, and then you got guys like Mapipi and stuff, and then you look at them, you think, oh, he's not very big, surely he can't be. And then you try and catch him, and then it's just like the gap gets bigger and bigger, and I'm just like, holy, this was a tough lesson. My first year of playing Super Rugby. I'm like,
but you also carved it up too. Like, I remember playing fantasy rugby that year, and mate, you were one of those players that everyone needed to have in their squad because you were just tackle breaks and line breaks galore.
I think it was just, I think because not many of the other players knew who I was, or they didn't really knew who our team was.
Yeah.
They sort of watched you, but they didn't sort of like mark you that much.
Yeah.
So it sort of gave you like an opportunity most of the time. And so I'm like, oh, okay, well, attacking wise, this is fun, but I'm like, on defense, it's like, you got guys that are bigger than our forwards just running straight down your channel. I'm like, yeah, I don't.
Not used to this in the top league.
No. In the top league, you're like, you got a few big guys, and then the rest are all Japanese guys. You can sort of cope with them because like they're not big, but they're all fast and nippy.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, geez. So yeah, it was a good experience, but it was like, yeah, it was a lot more harder than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Was it good for Japan rugby or not? What do you reckon? Would you like to see it back, or is it too hard?
I think no, we need it back, but like we need to work around the scheduling as well, because I remember when I was doing it, like we wouldn't even get time off. So if you're playing in the top league and you're playing Super Rugby and playing international, you're just sort of playing all year round.
Yeah.
And I think that was a lot of the feedback. Boys are just getting burnt out. But on the flip side, like if you want Japan to get better, I think we need to be exposed to Super Rugby, be playing at that level, because when we were in Super Rugby, like we weren't winning or setting it alight, but like the national team was a lot stronger. So 2017, 18, 19, I think that's when the national team were competing physically at that level. Now you see, now that we've lost the Super Rugby and stuff, you see we're struggling. Like we're losing to. I'm not saying Georgia and stuff are bad, but like we're losing to Georgia, we're losing to all island countries now who we used to be able to beat quite comfortably now.
Yeah.
So I think because they're exposed to Super Rugby all the time now with the Drua and the Moana Pacifica, it's bringing up that level, whereas I think Japan is sort of going backwards in a sense.
Yeah. Oh, it makes total sense, and it'd be good to see it back. Like, it was always good having the Sunwolves involved, and it was a shame it didn't quite work out, but it would be cool to somehow make it happen and stay in there.
Make it work. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're the man to do it, I reckon. And you mentioned the World Cup, obviously 2019 World Cup, hosted in Japan, and on the back of the Sunwolves, like you said, Japan were really competitive. Like, had an awesome tournament. What do you remember about that World Cup?
I think just the atmosphere, man, being at home was crazy. Like we couldn't go anywhere, leave the hotel or go anywhere without like the Japanese fans like embracing us and stuff. But it was leading up to that year's World Cup as well. Jamie and Brownie decided to take all the national team players out. So we formed a team called the Wolfpack.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
So like, we were playing like all the second teams.
Yeah.
So we played against the Hurricanes.
I remember watching that game. Yeah.
Yeah, all the second string teams, just to give us a time to slowly build up towards the World Cup, because it was always going to be like a tough season if we all played Super Rugby and then try and come back and try and peak at the right time. So in that sense, and that was awesome, because we were still playing like good rugby, but it wasn't like physically like demanding on you, because it wasn't the top level of Super Rugby. And I think that with the training camps we're doing, it all started to build that confidence into us that we'll be peaking at the right time, and especially at home as well. was always going to be a big plus for us. So, but I remember like our first game against Russia, like a lot of us, that was our first time playing it in a World Cup, and like we were nervous. Like everything that could go wrong went wrong. Like our bus from our hotel, which was in the city, to the stadium, which is about 40 minutes away, the traffic was so bad. Like we were almost late for the warm up.
True.
And only in Japan do you have police escort, and they don't go fast and they don't move the cars out of the way. So we had police escort, and we were just stuck in traffic. And we're like, this guy's taking the piss, you know. But we get there just in time for the coin toss. We've almost missed the warm up. We get out there, and the boys are already like nervous. Obviously, it's a big occasions, the opening game, and you know, and it's a Russia team that's got no pressure on them. And so I'm starting on the left wing, Matashima's on the right wing, and Toops is at fullback.
That's right.
Get into that game, yeah, like nervous and whatever. And they just started putting up bombs on Toops. They were like putting torpedoes up. It's very first one, he drops it, they pick it up and they score. I'm running back, I'm looking at Toops. Toops is looking at Martin, like, what the fuck is going on here, you know? It's like, imagine if we lose this game, like, we're not gonna be welcome back in the country, you know?
Yeah.
The boys ended up pulling it back, and Mutts ended up scoring a hat trick. So, well, we were by the second half, we were all good, but it was just like that the nerves had gone, and you know, we felt like we were in the game. We just needed to just take our opportunities, and lucky enough, we come right. So out of all of the games in the World Cup, that was probably the hardest one for us, just because everyone was expecting us to win, but also the pressure, like the build up to the game, almost being late to the warm up and stuff. That was the one game I'll never forget. I'm like, holy, you know, imagine if that didn't go our way.
Yeah.
That would have been a shambles, eh?
No, but you did win it, and then the whole country got in behind you like something else. So
Yeah.
like the support you guys had was crazy, and
It was,
for you guys to back it up to get through to the quarterfinal against South Africa, wasn't it?
yeah, it was against South Africa. So, like, no one besides us thought that we'd ever get to quarterfinals. You know, we ended up beating Ireland the week after.
Ireland, that's right.
Ended up beating Ireland
Yeah.
the week after, and then we played Samoa, and then we ended up beating Samoa as well. But then Ireland ended up smashing for and against wise all the other teams. So it was, and they also beat Scotland as well. So we had to beat Scotland in our last pool match to just make it out of the pool. And not many people gave us a chance as well. The Scottish media and stuff said, you know, that they'll take us to rugby school, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And we ended up beating them as well, you know, and they ended up not making the quarters. So we not only did we make it out of our group stage, but we finished top of the pool in a pool that had into the World Cup. I think Ireland were ranked number 1 or 2 coming into the World Cup.
Yeah. Crazy, yeah. How good's that?
Yeah. But then it's sort of like, well, we always knew, like, if we make it out of our pool, either way, first or second, well, it was always going to be tough because we were going to either play the All Blacks or the Springboks.
Yeah.
So no matter how positive you were, you sort of knew your run was always going to finish in the quarters.
Yeah, how are you going into that game against South Africa? Obviously, I remember watching it, and their pack just mauled the shit out of you, and they bullied your pack, eh?
Like, we sort of like our goal, in-house goal, was just get to the quarters. No Asian team has ever done that. No Japan team has done that.
Yeah.
And so sort of once we got there, we were sort of like, okay, now we've gone past that goal. Now, time to write some more history. And then as we watched the preview of them playing the week before, we're like, just watching how dominant their forward pack was. We're like, okay, like I back our guys. We're punching above our weight, but mate, this is like 10 weight classes above what we're going to be punching, you know?
Yeah.
And it's sort of just the way it started too, and the All Blacks are the same. And so the Boks, like once they get to the knockout rugby, they just pick up the intensity, they lift again. Whereas I think we were already redlining, just getting there, you know, that was the best we were ever going to play. Whereas they just turned it to another level.
Yeah.
I remember they got a maul when Faf de Klerk scored. Oh, they mauled us from behind the halfway, pretty much to our goal line, you know? I'm like,
that's when I knew you're in trouble.
yeah. I'm like, and I'm on the bench for that game, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, yeah, I want to get on. I want to get a cap, but I'm just looking at there. I'm like, mate, that is pretty brutal. Like, I don't know if there's much I can help you guys do if I get out there.
Yeah, it's a bit like that, eh? Oh, and how did that World Cup compare to the recent one, 2023?
That one was special just because it was at home. It was my first one, but I think
Yeah.
the one last year probably meant a lot more to me just because I wasn't part of the program for like the last year and a half or so.
Why was that?
Oh, sort of. I think I just fell out of favor with the coaches. I played the last Test match was I think 2021 and against the Wallabies, and I ended up getting yellow card that game,
Oh, yeah.
and it was like the game was in the balance, and like the Hunter Paisami's gone down the sideline, but it was a forward pass, and I didn't hear the forward pass with the noise in the crowd.
Yeah.
And because you know how he's quite strong, and you know he's a little nugget, he's low
Yeah.
to the ground,
Yeah.
and he's already running. I don't know the whistle's already gone. In my mind, like, I'm not stopping him unless I hit him like with everything I have. So I've come across, tucked the arm in, and sort of just shoulder charged him,
Yeah.
and he's gone flying out. You know, I'm like, yes, stopped him. I turned around, the play's already stopped. I'm like, oh fuck! Like if the play stopped, does this mean this tackle doesn't count? AR chucks in his little flag and he's like, you might want to check that tackle.
Oh,
Checks it, clear shoulder charge, get a yellow card. I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, like if everyone that's played under Jamie Joesph knows there's one thing that he hates is yellow cards or red cards, especially for something that's like avoidable.
yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, trying to avoid him and stuff. And so, you know, he's a big intimidating guy. So like after the game, sort of just stayed quiet, sort of just walk around, and the Australia team's in our locker room, and it's like, oh yeah, so we haven't really seen Jamie. He hasn't approached me, haven't talked to him. I'm like, sweet, all right, and boys have beers. We go back and just chill. The next morning, I'm like, oh, go for recovery, go sit in the sauna. Walk into the sauna. As soon as I open the door, up, Jamie's sitting there by himself. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, I
Reverse.
can't just close the door. I can't walk back out now. And he's like, oh, Mano, how are you? I'm like, no, no, good, good. He's like, how's the body? I'm like, no, no, good. Just sit down. And he's like, just looks at me. He's like, you cost us the game, right? I'm just like, yeah. He's like, mate, and what were you thinking? In no world was that ever going to be a good tackle. I'm like, yeah, the intent was just to try and stop him, you know. And then he's like, sort of from there on in, didn't really get any light of day for him. So I still stayed with the team. Like, we end up going to England. We played Ireland. I think that's when we played the British and Irish Lions over there as well. And so I was on the tour, did all the training stuff. So I was just like a DD. So I was just trying to help the boys, whatever, that whole tour. And I'm just like, bro, this just sucks. Like I'm what 30, 33, and then like, obviously I like being around the boys. I love playing, but like, no, I'm not gonna sacrifice family time just to come here and not be in the, be even thought about to even play. So from after that tour, I sort of just told them, nah, like I think this is me. I don't really want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And that was it. So I'm like, sweet. So I'll just focus on playing for NEC. Um, uh, give that dream up of trying to play for the World Cup again, and just stay and see if I can help NEC do better. So that 2022 season, leading up to the World Cup, I think because I was only focused on just playing for NEC, I wasn't really worried about performing for the national team, and they ended up calling me back up. They called me up. They normally have mid-year camps when you have those bye weeks, and they said, oh, we want to call you back in. We think you've been going well, and you might be in for a chance, for the camps and stuff. I'm like, okay, sweet. So here I'm thinking, oh, there's a few more games left, get my body right, blah, blah, blah. There's another chance I can play for Japan. End of the season comes up, get a call from Jamie, and he's like, mate, we've decided that you got to make the squad. You'll be in the wider squad. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, mate. So you didn't actually make the 33-man squad or whatever it was. So you'll be in the wider squad. Um, but I want you to think about it. So like the guys that weren't in the squad, he was going to send us over to England to go and play in, and for the Barbarians, because there was few other teams that were sending players. I think the Wallabies were sending players over as well, guys that were sort of shadow players to go and play for the Barbars. And I'm like, fuck, dude, do I take my 3 month holiday? You know, at the end of the season, if you're not playing international footy, you get like a 3 month holiday. Or do I stick it out and go play for the Barbars? And I talked to your brother about this for a while because me and Tojo get along real well. And he's like, mate, what do you want to do? And I'm like, mate, like, I don't know if I can do it. Like, I'll be over there for like 8 weeks, not even knowing that you'd be able to play, for the Barbars, or let alone is there a chance to play for the national team? But like, I had to teach them, I had to give them an answer before the 11th of June was when the first camp started. So I decided I needed to go home back to Brisbane for a little break. But if I was coming back, I'd only have a 10-day holiday. So I was like weighing it up, like, is it worth it? Blah blah blah. And then I talked to my boys, my oldest son and my middle son, because they love footy. They breathe, and that's all they ever do is talk footy. And they're like, oh,
That's cool.
it's up to you, but like, would like it if you went back and just gave it a try and see if you could play the World Cup again. I'm like, fuck, like, if it was my decision, I probably wouldn't do it. But then when you hear your kids sort of tell you, Dad, like, would like you to go and try again. So I chatted with my wife, and then we decided to come back and go join that camp in Tokyo. I was only supposed to be, so if you're in the wider group, you're only supposed to be there for the week just to run a yo-yo and a bronco and do strength testing and go home.
Yeah.
So I've turned up sort of like I told you, like, after I turned up that one season unfit, I was like, I'm never going to do that again. So even when I went back to Brisbane, I was just doing training and stuff. And so I came back and did the yo-yo, and I ended up getting, I think I finished third or top three. I got like a 19 something, which was clear, anything over 19.4. And then, Jamie and Brown sort of like just kept me on after that. So I was only supposed to be there for the week, and then supposed to go home, and then only come in again in a month's time, and then head over and join like the shadow members. And so I ended up coming back for that next week, and then the next week, and then the next week. But then he announced the final squad that will play in the Pacific Nation.
Yeah.
So we had to go into camp to Miyazaki, and so I didn't play any of the games leading up, and then he announced me in that squad. So I've gone to camp. So we were camping there for the whole Pacific Nation for like 5 weeks, and I didn't even play one game at all. And I'm just thinking, man, I'm getting killed here every week, doing the running, doing the DDs, doing all of this, and then like, I'm not even getting any feedback if I'm in for chance or whatever, and I'm just like, fuck, oh well, like, at least I can tell the kids, I tried, I came and I gave it a go, and if I don't make the team, then what? Like, at least I'll try. At least I tried,
Yeah.
So we get to the last game of the PNC. We're playing Fiji in Tokyo, and we were announcing our squad in the locker room just straight after. But it wasn't to the media; it was just to the players. So after the game, I'm already talking to the boys. Good luck for the World Cup, lads. Like, I'll always be supporting you guys. If you guys ever need anything, just give me a message. I'll be on holiday, so I'll be in and around. Get to the squad naming, and he gets to the outside backs, and my name's the second name he calls out. I'm like looking around at the coaches, and then the boys, and the boys are like giving me like high fives, and I'm like, mate, like, you told me I wasn't going to be in the squad. I was supposed to go to England. I've only been doing fitness for the last 8 weeks, not getting any feedback, not getting anything, and then didn't even play one game out of the 5 games, and then I'm going to the World Cup. So I call my wife and my kids. My oldest boy's like breaking down, he's crying. He's like, "See, I told you to do it. You would have made it." And I'm still sort of just in shock. I'm like, I don't know, like, how you were picking the teams. Like, but you got guys here that played every game, and I'm here playing no games, and then I'm on the plane. Yeah, I'm like, once they named the team, I'm like, I'm probably going to be doing my DD job again. I'll probably be over there just training and trying to help the team to prepare. And then when I got there, named me on the bench for the first game, bench for the second game, and Samisi got injured in the first 4 minutes, so I ended up playing, the whole game against England, and then played against Samoa, man over the match against Samoa, and then played Argentina. So I'm like, It's crazy like how things like work out, but it also depends on just on you. Like there was a lot of times that I was sort of just going to give up and throw in the towel, but then sort of just thought, nah, I'll just hang on another week, and then
Yeah.
ended up, everything ended up working out well for me. So I'm like, man, it's crazy how things work out for you if you're just persistent, if you just hang in there, even though there's times you
Yeah.
don't want to do it.
Yeah, that's it. And did you ever get an answer into how you did make it? Like,
No, but
was it just a whole mind game, or what was it?
no,
Like,
so I
obviously,
never,
it seems odd.
yeah, I never really talked to Jamie until like the end of
Yeah,
the World Cup. Then he was like, "Nah, mate, you deserved it. You played well." But I talked to Brownie quite a bit after the squad, and I was like, "Brownie, like I'm shocked. Like, how did I make the team?" And he was like, "Nah, mate, like, you've been playing well all year for NEC. You've been one of the best players on the. There's even like during the league for NEC that season, I pretty much led like every stat in the whole league, even though our team
mm,
wasn't winning. He's like, no,
yeah,
and I played all 18 games, 80 minutes every game that season
yeah,
just gone. And Brandon sort of, I think, no, you probably had too much rugby, anyway. So no, but you deserve to be here. Like you played well throughout the whole year. And I'm like, well, why couldn't you guys tell me this like 8 weeks ago when when I was just running fitness and and helping other guys because once they announce the team on the Mondays they announce it early, then if you're not playing, like you're straight out on the field doing fitness the whole time, then you're learning the moves of the other teams. And I'm like, I was starting to get like good at remembering all the other teams' moves because I've never done any of our moves. I know all other calls for the other teams, but I don't know any of our moves because I've never run any of them.
Well, you mentioned your time at NEC, and like I was obviously invested into the NEC Green Rockets that year because my brother was playing, so I was watching as many games as I could. And you're right, you were on fire like that whole season. Every game you played, you're absolutely ripping it up. So it's just crazy the way it was all worked out. That the fact that you were looking to not or pull pin on the
Yeah,
Japan international thing, and then you end up playing there, getting man of the match at World Cup games, one of the stars of the side, and crazy to think how close you were to that not being an option and pulling out, and
yeah,
inspiring that your sons got you across the line. Really,
yeah. That was pretty much what it came down to. I
yeah,
was just like I sort of had a feeling I'm probably not with a chance, but I'm like, okay, well, if that's what you guys want, like at least I'll go give it a go, just so I can say I tried. But that year for NEC, I've playing rugby. I've never played 10 in my life.
yeah.
Played fullback, played wing, played centre. I get there my first year at NEC, and Michael Checker and Rob Taylor reckon I'm a 10. Go play at 10. I'm here. I'm like, what? They're like, is this a joke? And I'm like, nah. So the first half of the season, I was playing at 10. But we had Smithy with us. We had Fletcher Smith in our team,
Yeah,
and he wasn't playing any of the games, But like Fletcher's, like he's out and out 10. He's like unreal. He's got good skills, good ball skills, good kicking game, and everything. And here I am, got no business being a 10, playing 10, and they made me goal kicker as well. And then I'm like shanking kicks left, right, and centre. From them on, like we had that joke with me and Toast. So he calls me Beeve. He calls me Beeve. So I call him Beaver as well, as but Beaver Donald. I'm like, mate, Beaver could actually kick. That was my one move at 10 was a show and go. So
oh yeah.
that's why he was calling me Beeve.
And was Daryl Halligan your kicking coach?
Oh, right. Because I'm not like a natural goal kicker either. Like I like drop kicking and stuff. And so I'm sitting there. We played, I think Yamaha. And we lost the game by like 5 points, but we'd scored more tries. I think we
Oh
scored
yeah.
5 tries. I've just shanked all the kicks, you know. And my last kick even got charged down from like 20 something out. But the thing is, like my kick, those cones you use for training, those little
Yeah.
small, that was my kicking tee.
Oh, true.
And so sometimes the ball wouldn't stand on the tee. Yeah, so I like. Yourself. Like if you've done shit for the boys and you lost the team the game, you feel down. I'm like, fuck, I'm in a hole. I come back after the game. I'm sitting in the locker room, and the boys are like, nah, don't worry about it. It's not your fault. And I'm just thinking, fuck. Well, who else missed the 8 kicks that would have won us the game? Anyway, my phone goes off. Get a message from Michael Checker, and he's like, mate, don't worry about like what happened at the game. Like those things happen. I've sent some of your footage to Daryl Halligan, so he'll be giving you a Zoom call during the week. You know, he's helped a lot of kickers, and I think he'll be good for you. He'll help you out. Here I'm like, oh fuck yes, you know, Daryl Halligan. I've shown the boys like Toads. Look at this, bro. Daryl was back to help me. Next week comes, no call from Daryl. End of the season, and then I forgot about it. And Toad was like, bro, did you end up getting that video call from Daryl? I'm like, bro, I'm still waiting for that call, you know? And then it ended up coming. I was like, thanks for getting my hopes up, Chick. But I think he decided to not call Daryl after that game, and then they put Fletch at 10 for the rest of the season.
Yeah, like, don't worry about kicking, you're done.
Yeah.
Anyone who's kicking off one of those cones they're in trouble.
Yeah. Oh, bro, and it was like some of them were like easy kicks too. It was like sort of, you know, next to the post, and then I'm sort of just shanked them.
Oh, it's the worst feeling, eh? It's the worst feeling when you're the kicker and you're just not feeling confident in the team.
No.
You're missing kicks and costing teams results. Oh, there's nothing worse.
That was tough. That was tough, and then but didn't get a call from Daryl, and then Rob Taylor, who was our coach at the time. So I finally invested in the kick tee, got me a kick tee, you know, practicing more how to kick through the ball and stuff, and then now he's giving me advice on how to kick and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was a goal kicker. And then you got the boys on the sideline. You got Toad and like, sort of just filming him. And he's like, mate, I don't know. You're getting kicking advice from Mertz these days. And I'm just sitting there laughing, and the boys are like, just giving it to me. Eh? And I'm like, geez, I couldn't get Daryl. Mertz is probably the next best coach I could get.
You just should have just lined them up with the drop kick. You don't miss those.
It would have been the better option, eh? At least it would have went in the air. One of the kicks were like a torpedo guy. I was like, holy shit.
Oh, well, it was a couple of tough years there for the Green Rockets, really, wasn't there? Like, you guys battled away. But one thing that happened, I know you're the translator for big Blake Ferguson, who I'm fascinated in this because obviously Joel Levison's just been on and he spent 23 days in prison and told his story, and I remember hearing about Blake Ferguson. I think he did 30 days in the end, but from your point of view, like, you were his translator, is that right?
Yeah. Well, so like leading up to, I think it was Christmas. No, it was after Christmas because we had a training game on Christmas Eve, so none of the boys could get on the piss. Like everyone's family stuff were here, so we're like, oh, okay, well, let's save it till New Year's because we weren't playing till the week after, and then we can do like a little do there. So like, yeah, sweet. Anyway, Fergo, we just call him Fergo. So Blake Ferguson, Fergo was here by himself. His family was back in Oz, and he decided to just sneak out and just go by himself. So no one's known. I'm asleep. I get a call, a video call, a FaceTime call at about 4 a.m, and I'm still asleep. My phone keeps going off. I'm like, oh, who's calling me at 4 a.m? Just brushed it. 5 minutes later, phone keeps ringing again. I answered the phone, and it was Fergo. And I was like, bro, what are you up to? It's like 4:30 in the morning. He was like, bro, I need your help, bro. I need your help. I was like, oh, what's going on? So he's with the police officers, and they're escorting him to the station. So because he can't speak Japanese, I asked the police officer, like, what's going on? And then the police officer gets the phone, and he's like, oh, I know who you are. You played rugby for Japan, you're a national. I was like, oh yeah, how nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. He's like, do you know this guy? I was like, oh yeah, he's a teammate of mine, plays at NEC, he's just been here, I think he'll only be there for a month. Yeah. In Japan, but he's already found his way to Roppongi. Anyone that knows, Roppongi is the red light district here in Japan. It's notorious for getting people into trouble. Yeah. So I was like, so why are you guys taking him to the station? And the officer said, oh, there was a complaint that he hit someone in one of the bars. He's punched a guy in the bar, and the guy wants to press charges. So like, we don't know if he's telling the truth or what, but we need to get him to the station to take a statement from him. And so if you would be able to, can you just stay on the line so you can translate, and then if you can, it'll make it easy for us to do the process. And I was like, okay, well, if he's done nothing wrong after your testing, do you mind if I come and pick him up? And I was like, yeah, sweet, that's fine. We just got to get a statement or whatever. So they go into the lockup to one of the little rooms in the police station, and he's like, sit down, tell us your full name, but before you do, it was winter time, so he had a big jacket on. Take your jacket off, and please empty out your pockets, just so you don't have anything harmful on you, any knives. Fergo pulls out his wallet, and as he opens it, 3 bags of cocaine just dropped out on the table.
Far out.
Drop out of his wallet, and he just like smacks it off the table like, that's not mine. I've never seen that. I don't know where that came from. That's not mine at all. The police officer just goes to me, mate, when I told you come pick up your friend, can't do that anymore. Like, now this is a different case now. Like, he's got 3 bags, which is enough for us to charge him like for more than possession, like with him like intending to sell. So we're gonna have to hang up the phone now. And I'll suggest that you get onto your team and you guys get yourself a lawyer, because he's in big trouble. Fergus still on the phone. He's crying and yelling. He tries to run out of the police station, all while I'm on the phone. So as before the call started, I've just pressed record. So I've screen recorded the whole thing on my phone, just in case I'll be able to help him out later. And ever since I recorded, I was like, that's probably the worst thing I could do. That just incriminated him more, because he's got bags jumping out of his, I've had to call Checker, then call the GM, call the company, and I was like, mate, big problem. Fergo's been arrested. And the first thing that the GM was like, can you show me where you are? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm at home. He was like, oh, so you went with Fergo or just by himself? I was like, yeah, just him by himself. Okay, so then from then, they kept him held in there for a month, 30 days.
Crazy, eh?
And the thing with NEC as well, because they're the ones that brought him over here, they sort of just like threw him under the bus. Like they sort of just cut all ties with him while he was in jail. So he was on, I think he needed to be, 2.5 million yen, which is about like 30 grand, was his bail. And they refused to pay his bail. That they refused to help him out.
Really?
Yeah. So if they paid his bail straight away, then like he would have been out in like 7 days, whatever. But they sort of just hung him out to dry. They threw him under the bus. So I ended up paying his bail for him to come out after that 1 month had gone.
Oh shit!
But yeah, in their mind, they don't want him to come out because he would have to come and wait for his court trial, and they thought if he came out, he'd probably get himself into more trouble, and that would look bad on the company. So yeah, they thought it was probably the best just to leave him in there.
Brutal. That is brutal. So you paid his bail until he did his court case?
Yeah, I paid his bail for him to come out until he did his court case, and then once it was done, then they sent him back to Australia.
Man, that is crazy.
Yeah. And we're all like here, like before the season. It's a week all before the season's about to start, and he's been arrested, and then now the company's telling us our team's probably going to have to forfeit the whole season, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, we don't know what was going on. And at the time, Checker couldn't get back into the country yet because he was waiting on a visa, because he was doing the Argentinian team, and he was doing the Lebanon League team, and he was doing doing 3 teams at the one time. So I was like, it was like, you probably could have made a movie about our team that year.
Could have made a movie about that, just that scene in particular, probably. Man, well, we just had that. Obviously, Joel gave a bit of an insight into what it was like in those prisons, and how was Blake? Were you in constant contact with him?
No, so I could only they wouldn't contact me because I wasn't his relative. So the way he would get in contact was the lawyer. He'll talk to the lawyer. Lawyer will talk to his partner, and then she would message me and tell me what's going on. And
right, that's hard.
And they only just had a baby. The baby was still under 1. She's still young, back in Sydney, and so she had never been here either. I've never met her, and all this was just going on. You could just only imagine how stressful she would have been. Can't get in contact directly. Don't know when he's coming out or if he's going to be in there for good. Man,
it's brutal. It's brutal over there. Like any sort of getting any trouble over there, like you're actually done, eh?
Yeah, you're done. Especially just because all the teams, are all corporations, and any sort of bad media or bad stuff about the corporation, they sort of just try to stop it. They
Yeah,
squash it straight away.
yeah.
So I couldn't imagine being in there for 2 days, let alone 30 days.
Well, obviously you're clean as 19 years over there. You've without one little speck of issues, but you've obviously done it really well. But I am keen to get to these questions because we have got plenty of them, and man, this has been some journey from one of the greats. But we'll get through some of these questions. I am keen to hear about these Gombini runs that you did in Honda Heat. You were notorious for Gombini runs back in the day. Talk to me about what that is and what you did.
So, a konbini in Japan is a convenience store. So you got 7-Elevens, Family Marts, and Lawson's. So back my first stint at Honda, half our team were professionals and half our team were workers. So professionals would train in the morning, and then we'll wait for the workers to finish at 12 o'clock, and then we'll have like a team meeting at 2, and then you do your team training. And so us foreigners, I don't know if I can name names. There's a few high profile ones now, but I don't know if I can name names. So there'd always be about 5 or 6 of us, the foreigners. As you do, you're bored, you know. Normal people will go get a coffee. We decided we'll go to the convenies and we'll take like a plastic rubbish bag, those black ones that you can't see inside.
Yeah.
And we'd go in and then grab a few like alcohol beverages or different ones, and we'll just put them in the bag, and then everyone would pick one out. Whatever you pick, you'd have to scull, and then depending on how much time and stuff we had, then we'll go to another convenience, you know, find another convenience, and then go to another convenience. So we'll go to a fair few conveniences. So that used to be the normal. One time, we took a bit to the extreme. Like I can't probably remember how many we ended up going to, but those of you that have been here in Japan will know that they have these drinks, these 9% called the strong zeros. So this day, our convenience runner, we decided to just go all strong zeros.
Oh, brutal.
Wow. So yeah, by the time we finish our runs, we're like, oh shit, like meeting starts at 2 o'clock. So we're all going back. We made it just in time for the meeting. We all walk in, there's 5 or 6 of us, and we're steaming by this time. The boys are yelling and we're laughing. I end up having like a smoke behind my ear. I don't know where that came from. There was a smoke behind my ear. We walked through the meeting. And the Japanese boys sort of just like, what's going on here? You know, well, where's this energy come from? And I think the coaches at the front knew that we were drunk. So the coaches at the time was Danny Lee and Juani McDonald.
Oh, yeah.
He was our forward coach, yeah. And so we've just come in hot, and Danny's like, okay, settle down, you guys. I'm steaming at the back. I'm like, mate, just shut up. You're a fucking shit coach, mate. Just sort of just come in hot and said that. And the boys are looking at me, and everyone's sort of, oh no, like, what have you done? You know? They ended up taking us back home, so we all got suspended. We had to come back in the next. This was on a Friday. We had to come back on a Monday, stand in front of the whole team like little kids, and apologise to the team, apologise to the coaches. And I was like, we still had about a month and a bit left on that season, and it was like pretty awkward. Like I used to get along with Danny fine, but it was just every time like I was seeing him, I was just like, oh, why the hell did I do that? So from then on in, we didn't really do too many conveni runs after that, and the ones that we did, there were no strong zeros.
I was going to say, avoid the strongs. They'll end you. Oh, that's brutal.
They get you.
So that was the end of you at Honda, obviously.
Yeah. I was.
Yeah,
before that
conveni
run. Yeah. We knew we were leaving, so yeah, I ended up having to find a new team.
Oh, good stuff. Okay, next one. Can his son Izzy gas him?
Oh, I think he's actually, because last year, so he's 12 now, so he'll be Form 1, grade 7. So we sent him back to Australia to go to school. So he'd been there for the last 6 or 7 months, and when he went back, he was only 12, so he wasn't that big. So when we went back after the season, I hadn't seen him for about 6-7 months, and I'm not the biggest. I'm about 178, and he's gone from being like 160 something to shooting. He's about 173 now, and he's still 12.
Oh,
so the boys always give me shit. Yeah, that he's pretty much almost taller than me, and he went well. He ended up playing for the QIS or the Reds under 12s, he ended up having a good season there, and he really enjoyed it. So all the boys are telling me, mate, even my mum, even my siblings, telling me he's going to be way better than me. So he's like, yeah, I'm going to be way better than you, Dad. I'm like, yeah, just let me know how many World Cups you play, son, and then we can go from there.
That's cool, though. It's cool that he loves it so much, and that he's obviously got a bit of your talent.
I don't know where he gets his size from, because I'm not very big. My wife's not very big, so might have to get a DNA test though.
Okay, next one. Best Jamie Joe yarn. Everyone loves Jamie Joe.
No, he's got so many. Like, I think that one in the sauna was one that I'll always remember. Or like one game we were playing against, that same game I was telling you about, the Waratahs.
Oh yeah.
After Tangalea scored, when I'm getting a hiding, and so like on Mondays he'll do his one-on-one reviews.
Yeah.
And he'll just bring in like his laptop, and he'll just sit there. And before me, there was Waxy had his meeting. You would have known Waxy. I don't know if you heard of him. He played with at Collar. So Waxy ended up scoring a try in one of that game. He supported the play, and then so Jamie's gone for his clips. He's just gone at Waxy's like, yep, that's it. Just that one clip there. And then Waxy's like, oh, what do you mean? And he's like, well, that was the only one thing you did for the whole 80 minutes. Close this laptop. He goes, yep, you're not playing next week. And I'm sitting there, and it's my turn. And he comes out, he's like, mate, your kickoffs, they were very good. Your kickoff's good, but that's about all you done, because put out the stats. You were 0 tackles from 6 attempts. So, and he's like to me, no good to me, not playing next week. Close. I'm just sitting there, I'm like, okay. I think that was one of the reasons why I didn't enjoy my first year playing Super Rugby.
Yeah.
Ew.
So funny.
A lot of the boys got that. You are no good to me. We used to get that quite a lot.
Yeah.
And he was brutal. He was brutal with it, and he did not care.
Was Scott Hansen there with you?
Yep, Scotty was there.
Yeah.
He was the man. The boys love Scotty.
Yeah.
Like every now and then, like Scotty would do his presentation, and then Jamie would say something, and then you can see them sort of going back and forth at the front, hey? Like to sort of argue every now and then. And you know how Jamie gets those eyes, but Scotty's the same too, he doesn't back down. And the boys are like, oh, get into him. You know?
Wind them up, yeah.
Yeah, wind, because you know what Scotty's like when you wind him up, eh?
Yeah, he'll bite.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 more. Advice for raising 4 kids.
That's a hard one, because half the time it was my wife that raised the kids. I was always gone.
Find a good wife.
Yeah, find a wife that'll put up with 4 naughty kids, and then a husband that's never at home. Especially that last World Cup, I was away for like more than 2 months.
Yeah, it's tough, eh? Tough gig for them.
Tough gig for them. She held it down. So I couldn't give you any advice on that, because
we need to ask her. I need to get her on.
Yeah. I need to get a Google Translate back out to ship
Oh, good stuff. Okay, last question. You'll have a good one for this one. Best piece of advice for a Woodlad listener.
Best piece of advice, I think, goes for life in general, but also for anyone aspiring to be an athlete, is it's like being persistent. And if you really believe, if you believe in something so much, like if you manifest in it, it actually can come true. Like I'm an example of that. Like I wasn't the best growing up. I didn't get picked in rep teams, sort of always never made many rep teams, but I sort of just persisted in that this is what I want to do. And I didn't really have a plan, didn't know how it was going to happen, but I sort of just believed it that much that my opportunities sort of just fell into my lap. And then when you do get those opportunities, you can't waste them, because you don't know when they'll ever come back around again. So pursue whatever you aspire to be, just pursue it and be persistent with it. Keep working hard, and I'm sure that you'll get there, because you don't really need so much talent, or I think it's more to do with luck sometimes, like
Yeah.
I said, I didn't make the teams. I ended up coming to Canon, and then halfway through, 4 years into my career, I didn't have a team, and I ended up just by chance going to a sevens tournament, and I got played sevens from there. Honda picked me up from there, and then here I am now. Like sometimes things may work in a different way and happen for a reason, but I think you only get what you put out. So you just stay true and stick to it, and I think you will achieve what you aspire to be.
Mate, so good. And it's so true. Like you go through your journey and there's been so many opportunities which have sort of just randomly popped up, but you've still got to have the ability, or you've still got to have done the work to be able to take those opportunities when you get that chance. And I mean, your first one with Canon, and then with the sevens team, and obviously with the World Cup and the Japan international side, like some of these opportunities have popped up quite randomly, but then you've obviously done the work, and to be able to, when you got that opportunity, to just take it and then haven't looked back. 19 years playing professional rugby over in Japan. That's your Range Rover right there. That is good stuff.
That's what I mean. It's random, mate. It's just random how these things just pop up.
Yeah.
I don't know like, where or how they came from, but like, if you always treat yourself, if you always prepared, I guess, if you're always training and always ready, I think gives you that opportunity to take those chances. Because, like I said, when I came back for that testing, I was only supposed to be there for that 3 days of testing.
Yeah.
I think if I didn't get over a 19 year, I would have probably been home by the next morning.
Yeah, exactly.
It sort of just showed that it wasn't like the best one there, but it just showed that you were sort of coming already ready to whatever they had set to throw at you. So I think, taking those opportunities, but always being ready, because you never know when they will come.
That's it, and you are absolute proof of that. So, mate, appreciate you coming on. True legend of Japanese rugby and world rugby, really. So, it's been awesome having you on, and awesome to get an insight into P2P, which I'm about to go make my account now and just check that out. That sounds awesome. And then, obviously, all the best with the next 3 years back where it all started at Honda. So, I'm looking forward to following your games over the next 3 years over there. No doubt still carving it up, but appreciate you coming on, man.
No, thanks for having us. Big fan of What a Lad. That's the only reason I have Spotify on my phone. I'm always when I'm driving, that's what I normally listen to. So
true lad.
Good to finally get on and also get the intro that I've been waiting for too. So cheers for that.
I'll send it to you.
Thanks for that. I appreciate it.